Hello and welcome again to VW Feast. Today we're making Gnocchi Puttanesca. Yum. So gnocchi are a sort of potato dumpling. So for this you will obviously need potatoes. You will need flour, ricotta cheese, an egg. And then for the Putanesca sauce is fundamentally the tomatoes, olives, capers, garlic, chilli and onions. So first let's make the gnocchi, and what we're going to do is take some potatoes and bake them. We usually advise it's some nice waxy potatoes, whatever that means. Right, once they have been baked properly, we're going to just place them in a bowl just to let them cool down, because obviously at this stage they're far too hot to work with. Now what we're going to do is turn those potatoes into a mash. Big discussion in our house about what makes mash. I like mash with just a bit of salt, pepper and butter. The VW likes to turn it into a sort of creamed potato with cream. But I'm getting a bit off topic. What we're trying to do here is convert this dense potato into light, fluffy gnocchi. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a potato eraser. And as you can see, this really does reduce it down into very small strands of potato. And it's that which has helped gives it its lightness. And that's really what we're aiming for here. Trying to avoid those shop-bought gnocchi that feel a bit like cannonballs. As you can see, once baked, the skin comes off nice and easily. You don't have to get all the skin off because the ricer will stop it going through, but no point making it harder than it has to be. Now to that riced potato we're going to add the other ingredients, and again we're doing this by hand, not using a machine because that could overwork it and again then turn it into a quite hard mixture. So in goes the ricotta, just gently stirring that through. Everything we can to make sure these are light and airy. In goes the flour, and then just gently mix it through. Obviously do this in stages, otherwise you'll just end up with a big lump of flour. A little bit of thyme just to give a bit of flavour to the gnocchi. And just keep that going round. It's all mixed through, and finally, as you can see, it's more of a crumb at this stage. We'll just put a little bit of seasoning, easier to season as you go. And then once we add the egg, it'll go from being a crumb to much more like a dough. There you are, much stickier now. So again, mix that through, keeping it nice and light. And what we're going to do is we're going to roll it out and form out the gnocchi. Once formed, of course, they can be left in a fridge and brought out and cooked just as you need to eat them. So we'll just take this in sections, so we'll just take a third at a time, otherwise you're having to use a very large volume of dough. Plenty of flour on our board, and then very gently shaping this out and rolling this out. Again, no kneading, and not too much force, or it's going to compact again and we'll lose that beautiful airiness. traditional rolling and then moving the hands apart, which obviously stretches this out. We're going for bite-sized gnocchi here. We're going to cut them out. Make gnocchi any size you like. Don't make them too big. Don't make them too small. So, there you are. There's our first gnocchi. What we're trying to do is really to increase the surface area so the sauce will actually sit within the gnocchi. You can do that with a fork or just stick your thumb in. And in that hole is where the sauce lies, because when you eat it, you want each gnocchi to be accompanied by a beautiful bit of sauce. So we're just going to put a little well in there to fill up with loveliness. Then, when you've got all your gnocchi ready, you can either cook them or put them in the fridge for when they're ready. So, we move on to the Putanesca sauce. Now we have broken a few rules here, but fundamentally Putanesca is onions, garlic, tomatoes, capers and black olives. We don't have black olives, so we're using green. And we like ours a little bit more picante, so we've added chilli. This will probably cause all sorts of problems. Anyway, it's our Putanesca. And given that the origin of the Putanesca was something just thrown together, people shouldn't be too precious about the recipe. So in go our onions, our garlic and our chilli. Our capers. And then our green olives with pimento. Probably breaking a lot of rules. Yeah, usually a black olive rather than the green. But just cooking those down a bit. Cover up and allow just to sweat. Making it soft. Don't want any hard bits in there. To this, in goes the tomato puree. You try to escape. Mix that all through. And then our beautiful chopped tomatoes. We do get through a lot of chopped tomatoes. And finally, just to add a bit of richness, we're adding some white wine. Just make sure we get all those chopped tomatoes from the cans. Finally, a few sprigs of basil. It's basil, as the Americans call it. Anyway, in it goes. Just a quick test to see whether we need to add any more seasoning at this stage. And then leave to simmer to reduce and to intensify in flavour. Give a good stir around. Again, another taste. And we're there. So, now we switch pans. We're going to go on to some nice salted boiling water. And in that, we're going to cook the gnocchi. So it's boiling vigorously. We then transfer the gnocchi into the water. How long do you cook them for, you say? Well, we could give you minutes, but actually we're going to show you exactly what happens. Now these all sink when they start to float. They're ready. Magic. smooth them around so they're not sticking together. As you can see, they start to cook and they start to rise. Don't believe me? There you are. They're risen. So, here we have it. Gnocchi Puttanesca. Just a little bit of parmesan and enjoy.